You want me to go live for class? I gotta be live for class. Hang up. Man, you got a bit long.
Thing. Hey, good evening. Hopefully everyone can hear me. We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you to our Humanities 115 course overview. And we're going to spend about 30 minutes tonight just going through the course and highlighting a couple of important things regarding navigating the course and being successful. And then we will also talk about the Unit 1 assignments and kind of preview the Unit 2 assignments as well. So hopefully you can all hear me. And I am going to go ahead right now and share my screen. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so hopefully you can see my screen. And I am going to, I'm going to go ahead and go into Moodle, and we'll take a look at our course. All right, and by now you should recognize that this is our course homepage. Up at the very top of the course, we have the news forum. Occasionally I will post announcements here, but most of the announcements that I send you will be come to you via email instead, just for your convenience. So you've probably already noticed I've sent you a couple of announcements via email. I try to remind you of important due dates, and other times I'll email you perhaps changes to assignment due dates, something along those lines. So it's definitely important that you check your email regularly in order to keep up with what's going on in the course, and also visit our Moodle page regularly. All right, under the course information and resources section, we've got a couple of different things here that are important. Probably the two most important documents being our syllabus and our tentative schedule. I trust you all can read the syllabus yourselves, probably have read it already, so I'm not going to really go into that tonight. However, if you have any questions about the syllabus that you want to ask during the session or at the end of the session, we can certainly address those. But I go. Okay, and you'll notice for me it went right into the tentative schedule just because I'm logged into my NCC Gmail. If you get a message that tells you you need to request access to the document, that means you're not logged into your Nash Community College Gmail, so you need to make sure that you log out of any other Gmail accounts that you might have, log into only your Nash Gmail account, and then go back into Moodle in another window and try to open the tentative schedule or any other Google Doc that I might have posted. And hopefully you all are familiar with Google Docs. It's a nice, basically free version of Word that's out there. I highly encourage you to use it for the course. It's convenient, it's easy, it works just as well as Microsoft Word, so I would encourage you to use it. And there's a link feature built right into your email as well as into your Moodle homepage. All right, so you can see this document is kind of your Bible for the semester because it lays out all of the due dates for the entire course. And please note that all of your assignments are due by 11:30 p.m. and that most of your due dates, except for the due dates in Unit 4, are Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's just to kind of try and make things a little bit easier for you to keep track of, you know, just knowing when you have things due for this course. All right, so right now we're in Unit 1. You should be reading in your textbook Chapter 1 and 2. And then you should be focusing on the assignments located in the Unit 1 block. Hopefully you've completed all of the assignments for tonight. We will just quickly go through the assignments that are due tonight, and I'll show you in Moodle you know, where you should be submitting those different assignments. But just a reminder that tonight your Unit 1 entrance ticket is due, your RAK agency selection post is due, your spare parts critical analytical argument topic selection is due, and then you also need to make sure that you have submitted your random acts of kindness assumption of risk form and a copy of your photo ID, and this can be your school ID or your driver's license. Maybe a lot of you don't have scanners. I know I don't have one at home that I have easy access to. So taking a picture of your school ID with your phone or with a camera is perfectly fine, and submitting that photo. It does not have to be a scanned copy. And then next week, we have a couple of other assignments due before we wrap up Unit 1. On the 7th, you are going to provide your first update on your RAK project. And I'll be going in, you know, first thing tomorrow and approving your sites so that you can go ahead and get started with your volunteer hours, and that so that you have something to post for this, this forum that's due on the 7th. On the 9th, in that same forum, you need to have responded to a peer. And then on the 9th, you're also going to turn in Virtual Notebook 1. And that contains entries from Chapter 1 and 2. And feel free to unmute your microphone at any point in time. And if you have a question, just to stop me. I can certainly address things as they come up. So let's go back into Unit 1. Oh, just some other things to highlight. Under the course library, you have some basic course information. This has, you know, just some policies, college policies, and then some information about being a successful online student. So if you haven't ever taken an online course before, or if you know, you have, it's just a good refresher of some things. There's a Smart Thinking Quick Start Guide, which if you're not familiar with Smart Thinking, if you don't have an account, it's an online tutorial service. You can submit your writing assignments for feedback to Smart Thinking, and this will tell you how to get started with setting up an account if you don't already have one. We also have some information on Turnitin, which we use for our major course assignments, the business ethics essay, the random acts of kindness essay, and the critical analytical argument project. And then we've got some information to help you review MLA format, and also some links to resources. So if it's been a little while since you've had English 111 and you need to brush up a little bit on how to cite sources in MLA format, please be sure to go into this book and review that information before your first writing assignment is due. All right, so moving into Unit 1, hopefully you have all accessed the lecture notes that are located in this book, because this is where the PowerPoints that contain your notebook entry requirements are located. And you can find, as the note here tells you, a single listing of all the notebook entries can be found below. So if you want a list of all of your notebook assignments, you can just click this link right here, and this tells you what you have to do. So for the unit, the Chapter 1 PowerPoint rather, we have these slides where questions need to be answered. And then chapter 2, here are the slides. And then we have 5 questions on 12 Angry Men that also need to be answered. So not a bad idea to maybe print this out for easy reference while you're going through the PowerPoints, and then you know exactly which slides have questions on them that have to be answered. All right, so if we just back up here, back to our main page. Let's go take a look at how to navigate the Unit 1 book. So the first chapter is just a little introduction. All you need to do there is read over it. The next chapter is a little introduction to chapter 1 in your textbook. And then here is the chapter 1 PowerPoint. So bold-faced links you want to be on the lookout for, because those usually are links to documents or websites. They're links to something external. So if I click here on the chapter 1 PowerPoint, it's going to take me into the PowerPoint. And if we just kind of click through the slides, so just a couple quotes from Socrates to get you thinking about thinking. And then here's your first notebook entry that you need to complete. What does living an examined life mean? Compare how your previous views of this term compared with what you discovered with what you discovered by reading the textbook and what it said about an examined life. So if I was going to answer this question, what I would do is I would open up either Microsoft Word or Google Docs, and I would probably just copy this text right here. Oops. Sorry. Obviously, we don't want the font to be 24 point. 12 point font's a lot better. And let's just change it to calibrate just because I like that. And then I would start typing my response here. Living an examined life means to reflect constantly on the decisions you make, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So once I'm done with that response, I just go down and I would start typing next response here. All of your answers for both Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 and the 12 Angry Men questions should be in one document. And here's kind of a little sample of what a couple of entries look like together. You should make sure that each of your entries are headed clearly so that I can tell which question they correspond to. And then really you should use your best writing, complete sentences, make sure your spelling, your grammar, everything looks pretty good, just to answer the question, to give your thoughts. If the slide refers you back to the book, you need to make sure that you go into the book and you complete the thinking activity that the slide directs you to. And we do have a couple of those where it's not just a question off the slide, but you're referred back to the textbook. See here.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So here's one where you can, you have to answer the question in the textbook. So this refers you to activity 1.3. So just make sure you go through the PowerPoint entirely and make sure you refer back to that corresponding list from Moodle of all of the entries that you're supposed to have, just to make sure that you hit on everything. Once you've completed chapter 1, you're just going to navigate back to the book. Here's your chapter 2 PowerPoint. Open it up and repeat the process. And then here, the last chapter here in this book gives you a link to 12 Angry Men, so you need to watch the video and then answer the 5 questions that are on the list in Moodle. And again, your final product ends up looking something like this, a good solid, paragraph or 2, just depending on the nature of the question. So are there any questions right now that I can answer on the notebook entries for anybody? We can just pause for a second and focus on the notebook, and if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those now. Okay. Well, I will take the silence then as meaning we're good. But please, if any questions do come up, don't hesitate to contact me. All right, so the notebook, once you've got your whole document completed for the notebook, obviously it's not due until the 9th. You're more than welcome to submit early. I don't usually get a chance to grade things early, but certainly you don't have to wait until the 9th to submit. In fact, it's a good idea to try and submit things early just in case you run into technical issues. So you'd want to click this link. And, well, I apologize. I'm in instructor view, so it looks a little bit different. You guys will just see a link here to attach the file and go ahead and submit it through. And it's very similar to just attaching a file to an email. So I feel pretty confident that everybody can do that. But if you run into any issues with the submission, please do let me know. All right. So we've kind of jumped ahead and looked at the notebook, which is actually the last assignment of the unit. Let's take a look at the assignments that are due tonight, just in case there's any that you still need to complete. So the first one is the Unit 1 entrance ticket, and this just links you into a Google Doc that then basically you're going to either submit a typed response or a recorded response, and this gives you a chance to try out a kind of neat little tool called Vocaroo, which is a free online voice recorder. So the question just asks you to tell the class whether you've ever volunteered before. If so, how did volunteering make you feel? What are some areas you're interested in? And how do you think that giving back in this area can benefit the agency, who the agency serves, as well as yourself? So you can see some folks have already done this. A lot of folks actually have already done this. So just make sure that you put your name and you type your response. So that needs to be completed this evening if you haven't done that yet. You also need to post your random acts of kindness agency selection.
Where's the phone?
And you just do that by adding a new discussion topic. And this is basically where you're going to post the agency that you would like to volunteer with. And again, I will go in and approve your choices ASAP. In fact, I may even get in there and approve them tonight for the folks who have already submitted, just so that you can go ahead and get started tomorrow if you would like. Okay, navigating back again to Unit 1. You also should have selected a topic for your critical analytical argument project in your spare parts blog. Again, these are later assignments in the course, but you kind of need to set yourself up to begin working on them now, especially the random acts of kindness. You know that you have to, if you've looked at the overview here, you can see that you have to complete 12 hours of volunteering with an agency, as well as some other work that goes along with that. I believe somebody asked earlier about logging hours, where you should log your hours. Here's the link to the timesheet right here. You click that. We seem to be having a little trouble with our link. Okay, well, I will get that updated for you guys. That will be a log that you can print out and write your hours down as you complete them, and also get your site supervisor to sign them. Here's your assumption of risk form if you need that. Hopefully that's working for everybody. Yep, that looks good. So you need to print this out and sign it. And again, taking a photo of it is fine. You don't have to scan it. You can just take a photo with your phone. Okay. So hopefully you have also completed this. If you haven't yet, please make sure you do so tonight, that you submit your choice of where you would like to volunteer. For the spare parts blog and the critical analytical topic selection, this relates to a Unit 4 assignment. Basically what you need to do, I've started a thread here for each topic that you can work with, and you should just go in and reply to the thread for the topic that you're interested in. So if you wanted to work with immigration, you would just click into that thread and you would click reply and just say, I would like to work with immigration.
This might do.
And then just hit post. Okay. Again, I realize you don't know a whole lot yet about the critical analytical topic. You probably know you have to read spare parts because you were handed the book with your textbook when you bought your books at the bookstore. I would just encourage you to pick a topic that interests you, and we will be going over more in depth what this assignment entails here coming up very soon.
You just said it didn't sound right to me.
All right. All right, so that kind of covers what's due tonight. The assumption of risk form and the copy of the photo ID is actually not due until the 7th. However, you can submit this early if you would like, and then that way you can get started with your hours. And again, you would just click that link here to submit. Your RAK update is posted here, and then we already highlighted the notebook submission link. So that kind of takes us through Unit 1. And as you can see, things move quickly. This is an 8-week course, so we're just going to kind of move through the information very quickly, and I certainly encourage you to and please disregard this. You won't even see this. You're only seeing this because you're in instructor view with me right now. That's an old link to something. But, you know, we kind of move right along, and then before you know it, it'll be time to start Unit 2. Unit 2, you've got a little introduction to Unit 2 video that you can watch, and then it's kind of the same process. You have a lecture notes book with PowerPoints that will guide you through what you need to do for Notebook 2, which is due the 16th. You have another RAK update and peer response due. And if you're curious about what the spare parts blog and the critical analytical argument entails, that also is explained in Unit 2 under the topic assignments. So, let's see here. Let's just take a look at the business ethics assignment quickly. This is, the video goes over this in detail, but this is basically your first writing assignment. You've got kind of a little checklist here to help you complete it. And just something I want to stress really is that you do need to make sure that you use MLA documentation. So please, again, make sure you go back to the course resources and make sure that you review the MLA information if you are wondering how to do that or if you need a little review. And certainly I'm available to answer questions about that as well. And we'll try to do another a couple more of these live sessions throughout the course just to kind of help you along with the assignments. I do want to remind you that I don't have any scheduled office hours. However, we can do office hours using the same tool we're using tonight, the Google Hangouts. If you would like to make an appointment with me, I am only available in the evenings because I do work full-time during the day. However, I am happy to schedule an appointment with you on an evening, you know, one-on-one to answer any questions about the course you may have. And certainly email is always a good way to get a hold of me as well when you have questions. So with that, I am going to go back to the live session link here, and I am going to stop screen sharing. And I see, I'm sorry, Douglas, I'm just seeing your question. What if some of us have not heard from the agency where we are attempting to volunteer? Okay, so here's what I would recommend. Obviously, you know, you want to give folks a couple of days to return messages and you know, get back with you about volunteering. By the same token, you also don't want to wait too long simply because you do have to complete these 12 hours within a pretty short span of time. So I would encourage you to, if you don't hear back with them maybe within the 48 hours of initial contact, try a follow-up contact, and then if you still can't get a hold of anybody, you might want to consider at that point switching gears and trying something else. And, you know, please at that point in time communicate with me and we can certainly problem solve together. So hopefully that, Douglas, hopefully that answers your question and gives you some ideas of how to how to address that situation. Great. Any other questions I can answer for anybody at this point? Okay, well, hopefully the silence means good things. Hopefully I haven't completely overwhelmed you with information this evening. But please, if you have questions, please reach out to me via email. I am so happy to help you. But I can't read your minds. I can't, it's hard for me to tell if you're struggling since I'm not seeing you face to face. So, please make sure that you reach out to me via email if you get stuck so that we can get you unstuck. We can set up a meeting if we need to. But I'm here to help you. I want you to get a lot out of this class, and I want you to be successful. So I appreciate you joining me tonight. I thank you for your time. And if there's no other questions, then we'll say have a good evening, and thank you.
Listen to this sentence. Question. How does Henry Fonda's character question? Hmm?
Hey, thanks,
Right.
guys. Have a good night.
Listen to me.